Is it safe to go off the resort in Cancun, Mexico? Now, this is one of the biggest questions that we get, and really, there is no yes or no answer. Now, almost every time we visit Cancun, we do go off the resort. So, I decided to make a video just to simply share our experiences and tell you what you can expect if you do decide to go off the resort in Cancun, Mexico. And if you're new to our channel, 3 Days and Tres Noches is not a travel vlog or a travel agency. We just bring you real, honest, to the point information about the travel destinations that we go to. So please like and subscribe and keep following our channel so we can keep growing and bringing you this type of content. I would say the number one rule when deciding whether or not you should go off the resort in Cancun is really to trust your own gut and judgment. For instance, if you're really scared and nervous about going off the resort, then you probably shouldn't go. And it's not because it's dangerous or not safe to do it. It's because you're not going to be able to enjoy it, whatever you're doing, because you're going to be anxious the whole time. With that being said, I hope this video eases that anxiety a little bit because there really is so much to see and do in the Cancun area. Beautiful, beautiful islands, beautiful areas that you can visit in a very safe way. Okay, so now we've gotten to the point where you're considering possibly going off the resort while you're in Cancun. So I would say the first place to start is with a tour company and booking an excursion. Most tour companies make safety their top priority, obviously because they want to keep their reputation, get repeat business, and also they have insurance to back them up and they don't want anything to go wrong or their insurance to go up. Plus, they are native to Cancun, so they know the areas to go, the areas not to go, and depending on where they are taking you, they're going to tell you all of the safety measures that you need to take to make sure that you have the best experience. The first excursion that we took was actually when we were staying at the Grand Moon Palace the first time, and we booked a tour right through them. So often the resorts have tour companies right on site. Sometimes it costs a little more, but it's definitely worth it because again, they're gonna have your safety at top priority, especially since they're representing the resort. We also used the tour company at the resort when we were staying at the Sun Palace when we went for a sunset cruise to Isla Mujeres. This is still one of my favorite excursions ever, and I highly, highly recommend taking a sunset tour to Isla Mujeres. Now, this tour included a boat trip to Isla Mujeres. We did have some time on the island itself, so make sure you watch the video I did about Isla Mujeres. It is definitely a safe place to go. Just do your research before going. And again, we were with a guided tour. So we spent a few hours or about an hour and a half exploring the island. Then we got back on the boat and then watched the sunset from the boat over Playa Norte, which is one of the most famous beaches in the world. We also went to Isla Mujeres on our own one time. It was our first time going. And like I mentioned, I did an entire video on this where we were staying at the Sun Palace again, and we actually took the local bus to the ferry stop, took the ferry over, rented a golf cart, and toured the island that way. And we had absolutely no issues. Again, we were on the local bus, had no issues there. We were on the ferry, had no issues, and even in town, always felt very safe. I would say the only issue is the sales tactics, but again, they live off of tourism. So of course they're gonna try to sell tourist things because that's how they stay alive. So if you are going to a resort in Cancun or around Cancun, I would say Isla Mujeres is a must to visit, whether it's with a tour company or going on your own. I would just avoid some of the high times. Like if you look at our video, we went during summer. It was very, very crowded. It's a very small island. But other than that, you have to visit this island. Our friends also took a tour to Tulum through Nacho Tours. And if you follow our channel, you know that we use Nacho every single time to go back and forth from the airport. But he also offers tours and excursions if he is available. So this was a 100% guided tour, which is a great way to go if you're a little nervous about going off of the resort. The guide spoke English, stayed with them the entire time, and it was a full day trip. Now, most recently, we did not book through the resort to go on an excursion. We booked through viator.com, which we had used in Puerto Rico Love them so much, their communication and the organization, that we tried them in Cancun, and it was the same experience. We booked a tour to El Cielo in Cozumel, which I highly, highly recommend. And it was definitely an excursion I'll never forget. So if you're going to Cancun or around Cancun, staying at a resort, you have to go to El Cielo Cozumel. I would say if you had a choice between Isla Mujeres or El Cielo Cozumel, go to El Cielo. Make sure you watch the entire video that I did about our excursion to El Cielo, because it was half on our own and half with a tour company. So, for instance, we had to take a taxi to Playa del Carmen, where the ferry stop was, take the ferry to Cozumel, then from Cozumel, take a taxi to where the boat was leaving from. And again, we had no issues at all, felt very safe, but always do your research before you're going to any destination, because you can pick up a lot of tips and tricks before going. So now let's talk about going off the resort at night, which we've done several times as well. So we've been in both downtown Playa del Carmen and downtown Cancun. Now, I think this is people's biggest fear when it comes to going off the resort in Cancun is at nighttime. So I'm not going to tell you that you should go off the resort at night in downtown Playa del Carmen or downtown Cancun or anywhere in Mexico. I'm just going to tell you about our experiences, because both times we have gone, we have enjoyed ourselves. We have stayed into the wee hours of the night. And in fact, I felt safer in downtown Cancun and Playa del Carmen than I do in the nearby city here in Newark, New Jersey. So the first time we went off the resort at night in downtown Cancun, we actually arranged everything through the resort. We were staying at Haven, and they made all of the arrangements for us. So they got the taxi, they got us tickets into the club. I think we went to Cocobongo or Mandalay, one of those. And then they had the taxi waiting for us to return. So this is a great way, especially if it's your first time going downtown, because I think it's going to make you feel more safe. Now, the second time that we went off the resort at night was into downtown Playa del Carmen, and we did it on our own. So we got a taxi into downtown, walked the streets, went into different clubs, had a great time, and really had no issues at all. So obviously you want to use your best judgment, use your common sense, keep valuables close to you. And I think the biggest tip that I can give is about drinking. So the stories that I've heard is when people go downtown and they drink to the point where they cannot remember anything or how they got home. And that's where problems arise. So we had an amazing time. I would definitely suggest going into downtown Playa del Carmen or Cancun, because it's really, really fun. But don't drink to the point where you can't remember anything, because that's where you're going to get taken advantage of. That's where kidnappings happen, and that's where deaths happen, and that's where crime happens. So that's the biggest tip that I can give you. There's so many things to do in Mexico that I haven't even gotten to yet. So, for instance, shopping. There's amazing shopping in downtown. There's cenotes. There's temples. There's so many excursion and things that you can do. So, in conclusion, I would say definitely consider going off the resort, because there are many amazing things to experience in Cancun. And if it is going to be your first time off the resort, or maybe you're on the fence about doing it, then I would suggest going through a tour company or a guided tour. And honestly, nowadays there's risks everywhere that you go, even going to the grocery store now. So don't let that hold you back when you're on vacation from experiencing what especially Cancun and Mexico has to offer. So there's many safe ways to go off the resort. And I would say anywhere that you go, anywhere that you travel, there's probably some safe way to experience the country. Just do your research ahead of time. And I hope you found this video helpful on whether or not you should go off the resort while you're visiting Cancun. And if you did, please like and subscribe, and keep following us at 3 Days and Tres Noches, where we keep bringing you honest, to the point information about the travel destinations that we go to. Remember, we're not a travel vlog or a travel agency. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're just trying to give you the best information that you can have, so you can have the most amazing vacation in a very short amount of time.